Tonight, I think outside of Ken and Cody, I met y'all at district conventions, and when Ken was running for Congress 2 years ago, so got to know Ken pretty good by then, and a lot of y'all are new faces, so I'll just introduce myself. My name is Mickey Tuck. I live in Silver Creek, Georgia. That's Floyd County, just a little south of Rome, going toward Rockmart. Been there for 35 years. I've been married to my wife for 36, and so I'm not a stranger to this area or to this district. You know, I've been through the 7th district and moved into. So I've been in about 3 different districts, even though I've stayed in the same county. So now we're the 14th, and I'm a physical conservative, and I'm also a constitutional conservative. You know, we need to get back to our roots. We need to get back to our foundation that our founding fathers made for us. So my key words have been to dismantle and to rebuild. You know, Washington D.C. it's out of control. I mean, you look at it constitutional wise, it's out of control. Look at it spending wise, it's out of control. Look at debt, out of control. The government wants to run our lives. You know, that's wrong. We're supposed to run the government. I got all twisted around. And if you think about it, I saw a little post on Facebook before I left talking about socialism. And you know, our government is fastly going towards socialism. And if America falls into socialism, you know, there's going to be nowhere for free people to go. This is the last bastion in the world for free people to go. As a true republic. You know, and now we got into a democracy, and we got away from being a republic. There is a difference, and we're supposed to be a republic. A little bit more about me also is I'm an electrician. I'm not a politician. I work at Gildan Yarns in Cedartown. I've been there 16 years. I was at Lindell Manufacturing and Maintenance for 11 years before NAFTA shut us down. I might get into free trade here a little bit later. So, why I say that I'm an electrician, not a politician, I'm one of you. I get out here I go out here to work every day, and I know the effects of the policies of Washington D.C. has made upon us. You know, whether it's health care, whether it's taxation, you know, loss of our constitutional rights through unconstitutional laws that have been passed. I feel the effect just like you. I'm in touch with you because I'm out here with you. You know, the past 5 years, you know, since we've got our Republican-controlled Congress, they've lost touch. They've lost touch with the base. I like to use electrical terms, so I'm talking about plugged in. You know, y'all are the base. Y'all are the base of this district. You know, when our public officials run for office, they plug into your power. They plug into each one of you. And your power is your vote. But once they leave here and go to Washington, D.C., they disconnect from our power grid and plug into the power grid up in Washington, D.C., and they get plugged into the power of the establishment. And they fall under control of their power up there and fall out of control of our power. And I want to remind y'all through this whole election cycle that's coming up, primary's not until next May, or for me and Tom. But y'all remember, y'all are the power. You know, y'all are the power that elect who goes represents you in Washington, D.C. So there's been a big disconnect between, I feel like, our elected officials in Washington, D.C. and our base here back home in 14th District. And it's been and people are furious. It's being felt all across the country, not just in this district. I've been all over this district. I was telling Ken, you know, this party meeting here in Polk County is the only 2 meetings I haven't been able to make so far, because I do work. I have to work my schedule around being to meetings. So, and everybody I talk to or have the same feelings as I do on the most part. They're mad. They're frustrated with what's going on, with that disconnect. They feel like once we go to Washington, D.C., their voices are no longer heard, that they're being ignored, and that what they sent our representatives to Washington, D.C. to do is not gotten done. So going back to that past 5 year period since we took control of the House, you know, we sent our representative And all the other representatives around here in the other districts, their people sent their representatives up there, we sent our senators up there, and we asked them, we said, we want you to fight Obamacare tooth and nail. Did they? No. We want you to fight for tax reform tooth and nail. Have they done that? No. We asked them to go up there and fight against illegal immigration and stop Obama's illegal immigration. Did they do it? No. We've asked them to, now we're asking them to defund Planned Parenthood. And I'm sorry, fellas, but I also believe they're going to do it. I'll come back to abortion in a minute. But we've asked them to do those things. We've asked them to go back and reel in the NSA in the prison groups, illegally spies on all of us, to reel back some of that power. We want our privacy. We understand we need national security, but we got to obey the Constitution. We can't have secret courts and secret judges. And that's what our founding fathers did, design our government for our government to work in secret behind our backs. So there's a lot of things that need to be done. And our representatives have gone up there and say, I'm going to fight for you, I'm going to fight for you. When they get up there, they lose their backbone. And that's one thing I promise y'all when I get up there. I've been around this world long enough now that I'm set in my ways. And some people say, well, you might go to Washington D.C. and you might fall into the same ways up there. They might try to buy you out. They might try to sneak you into to plug into their power and away from the power of the base. I'm honest with you, as I'm standing here, I truly, honestly don't believe that I'll ever fall into that because I'm too stubborn. And I'm just, like I said at the beginning, I'm just as mad as each and every one of y'all are about what's going on in D.C. and I want to see some changes made. We got a group of guys up there now, there's about 25 or 30 guys up there right now that are starting to make a change. If y'all follow like Thomas Massey and Justin Amish and some of those other guys up there, they're starting to be enough of them where they're starting to wield a little power. Even though there's only about 25 or 35 of them, they're starting to have some power, enough of them to have some influence. We need about another, we need really about 435 altogether up there like those that are true conservatives and believe on the Republican principles and want to stand on those Republican principles. And that will elect effective leadership that will stand on Republican principles and on conservative principles. But that's what we need in D.C. And I know I can do that once I get up there. People say, well, you're only 1 out of 435, but if we keep adding one by one, by one, by one, by one, I believe we can make an effective change up in Washington, D.C. That's why I'm running, because those are things that I stand for, things that I believe in, and those changes need to be made. I hate going looking back at notes, I hate using notes, but I got a list of things that I'd like to do once I get up there. First and foremost, I want to protect the U.S. Constitution. And I want to help repeal any laws that violate the U.S. Constitution. I want to vote for principled and powerful House leadership that will do the work that we want done. Not what K Street wants done, not what lobbyists want done, not what special interest groups want done, not what the Chamber of Commerce wants done. That will do what we, the people, the principal people of the Republican Party, wants done. I'll push for tax reform, whether it's flat tax or fair tax. I like the fair tax. Flat tax is probably quicker and easier to get through to implement, implement some kind of tax reform without having to go through a constitutional amendment and all that you'd have to do with the fair tax. I want to push for a balanced budget right now. The Tom Price plan is where we're going to balance the budget in 10 years. How many in this room honestly think we need to wait 10 years to balance the budget? We're going in debt $1 trillion a year. We want to wait 10 more years. We need to start doing responsible spending. We don't have a revenue problem in Washington, D.C. We have a spending problem. And that's nothing new to your ears, I'm sure. We need to do something right now to secure our borders and do whatever and to have immigration, I'm not saying immigration reform, but inform our immigration laws, because we have laws in the books that take care of our immigration problems. We don't need reform, we don't need laws, the laws are there, we just need to enforce them. There's things that we could do. I'll tell you, on immigration, one thing that I would do, the mill that I work at, we're probably 70% Hispanic. Great people. They work hard. They're, the only difference, they believe they got strong family values, they got strong work ethics. And the only thing that separates them from being a Democrat to voting for a Republican is immigration reform. Outside of that, I've talked some of them into voting Republican come next election, because I talked to them about the future, about what the Constitution stands for, what freedom stands for, you know, what the Republican Party stands for versus what the Democratic Party stands for. And that's the message we need to get out to get the Hispanic vote. But E-Verify needs to be strengthened. Hispanics work tell me E-Verify is a joke, because you can use as many social security numbers in as many places as you want. There's no, so they use all the social security numbers and fake documentation they want and still get through E-Verify. When they did E-Verify, the ones that were already working in factories and in industrial, you know, wherever they were working at, didn't have to be E-Verified, they were grandfathered in. So you still got illegals working in mills that shouldn't be there, but they're there because they're there before E-Verify stepped in. You have to only have 10 or more employees to use E-Verify. I think if you got one employer or more, you need to use E-Verify. We need to make it, and I've talked to my Hispanic friends at work, and they are my friends. I call them friends. I'm not ashamed to call them my friends, because they are. We work side by side, shoulder to shoulder, each and every day. We talk just like we're talking right now at the break table. And these things that they tell me, they say, you know, if you want to, you don't have to build a border. You know, you don't have to build a fence. All you got to do is make it where we don't have any access to money or to benefits, and we'll pick up and go back home. So it's not an expensive proposition to have immigration, to force immigration or immigration reforms. And all we got to do is make it impossible for them to live here, and they'll go back home. We don't have to spend a lot of money on. We do need some fences and border patrols, because we got cartels and all this kind of thing going on down there that we need to work on. And plus, we need it also for national security, because we got people that wants to get into this country and do great harm to us in our nation that could care less whether they get here to make a dime. They just want to get here to cost lives, to take lives, and cause damage. On abortion, God has given us a window of opportunity right here and now to stomp out abortion or put a serious dent into it. Has any of y'all seen the gross test, terrible videos?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Man, I think I watched one or two, and after that I just had to take the word for the group that sent the video out that described what was in it. It was just too sickening. If our Congress doesn't do an all-out effort to defund Planned Parenthood right now, we've lost a major window of opportunity that the Lord has opened up for us to step through right now. I believe it's worth shutting the government down to do it, because it's a God thing. I think it's the right thing. I'm hoping and praying Tom Graves takes that stand. I really do. I'm praying, hoping he does. But they're going to try to put something out there to say, put it in a separate bill. So, well, we're going to go ahead and pass a continuing resolution. We're going to raise the debt of the government, which I'm against anyway. If the CR was coming up for a vote and it didn't have Planned Parenthood, I still wouldn't vote for it, because it means more spending. It means more debt. That paper down. I got to pass that paper. But this is the point where we need to just stop it. You know, it's worth doing that. If we don't do anything else, we need to fight for lives. And on top of that, if we stop funding for Planned Parenthood, I think if any of y'all watched it where the heartbeat was still beating, and they went ahead and cut his face open and took his brains out. I'm sorry, I hope everybody's finished eating. That's what one of the videos was. The law's already booked for murder, but if we have to put a bigger stamp on it, anything that has a heartbeat and you kill it, you go to jail for murder. Whether in the womb or out of the womb. I won't stop abortion completely, but it'll stop it at 6 weeks, because after 6 weeks, that's when the baby's heart starts beating, from what I understand. So, fetal growth or the growth of babies. That's how strong I stand on constitutional issues. I stand on life and stand on spending. And that's why I brought this little button right here with me, since I work in the industry. Anybody here working in the industry know what this button right here is? No, it's not the Hillary reset button. That showed you how disconnected Hillary is with the people in the workplace. She don't know the difference between an e-stop button and a reset button. A reset button would be yellow. An e-stop button, you know, even hers, I think, had emergency stop road on it. But if you see a red button like this on a machine, and the machine gets, and you get into a dangerous situation, whether it involves a machine, something drastically happened to the machine, or some bodily injury to someone, you hit that e-stop and it brings that machine to a quick and safe stop. And that's what we need. That's what I want to do in Washington, D.C. I want to go up there and be able to help hit this e-stop. The government, it's got to quit. It's got to stop. We can't keep going like we're going, or we're going, as y'all first saying, we're going to run out of other people's money. And then when we run out of other people's money, there's going to be chaos in the streets. You know, we saying what's going on in Greece, you think all of a sudden one day China calls in our debt, or any other nations calls in our debt, or we can't, you know, we get to where we can't print any more money, or we can't borrow any more money, and the government comes up all of a sudden and says, well, I'm stopping everybody's benefits, we can't pay them anymore. So we need to put an e-stop. We need to have welfare reform. We need to put people back to work. I don't know if I only want to get into welfare or not, but y'all seen it. Y'all been there. Y'all been in the grocery store and see what's in people's bags and what goes on. So it needs to stop. But we need to encourage people back to work. And one way I think we can encourage people to go back to work. Has anybody gone through this town or anywhere in Georgia or anywhere across the Southeast where you travel and not seeing help wanted signs in the windows? All those jobs are part-time jobs. But I think if you're going to draw government benefits outside of Social Security, those type of things, that's not a benefit. That's something that's owed to you because you paid into it. You need to be required to work 20 hours a week. So you have some skin in the game. You be paying some taxes, and plus it costs us less money to pay out. Because when we're paying people more, they can sit at home and get more food and draw more money and live in a house cheaper than they can, or better than they can go out and get a minimum wage job. We need to get those benefits ratcheted back where we at least force them into minimum wage jobs. So that's just some of the things I stand for. That's some of the ideas that I have. And I hope that kind of lets you get to know me. That, you know, I'm not just a blue-collar electrician. I'm a person that's concerned for the future of our country. I'm a person that's concerned about where our nation is going spiritually. And I'm running because I love this country. I love my family. I'm worried about the future of my children and their children. And we need people right now to stand up. Just remember this quote. Career politicians got us into this mess. Career politicians are not going to get us out of it. If you want to keep the same thing going that's going on up there right now, keep re-electing the same people. If you want change, it's time to clean house. It's time to put some new people up there, a new breed of, I hate to call myself a politician, I'm not one, but a new breed of politician or a new breed of elected official up there that truly cares about the people more than they care about themselves, their position, how much campaign money the establishment's going to raise for them, what committee they serve on, or they're scared of what the Speaker of the House is going to do to him for a rebel against the Speaker of the House if he's not standing for the people. Just like Mark Meadows, you know, he got knocked back down because he wanted to do the work of the people of his district. They asked him to vote a certain way. He voted a certain way. And John Boehner and House leadership said, "Well, you didn't vote the way we wanted you to vote, so we're taking you off your committee." Which, after a little bit of revolt there, and a lot of letters and phone calls, they put him back on. It's only because of that. But we need somebody up there with a backbone that's not scared, that's willing to do the right things. So with that, I'm Mickey Tuck. I hope y'all remember my name. I'm running for Congress, 14th District. I hope between now and May I can get your vote and hopefully your support So if I got time, I'll take questions.
Ed?
I have a quick question.
Yes, sir.
See, we all realize that you or Tom Graves, can you explain 3 policies that Tom Graves supports that you don't support?
Tom voted and approved for the fiscal courts, which is the NSA. That goes against our Constitution, that goes against our right to privacy, it goes against due process. Those issues, I do not agree with him. I don't believe in secret courts, I don't believe in secret judges, I don't believe in, I believe that we need to be, it's just like, to have secret warrants, and you be, every one of our emails, telephone calls, cell phone calls, while we browse on the web, the government knows about it. They got it, it's called data mining, if y'all don't already know about it. But everything each and every one of y'all have ever done on the internet, on your phone, on your cell phones, anything electronic, money transfers, the whole deal. The government's got it in their computer base up there in Utah. Now, is that American? Is that constitutional? No, it's not. That's one thing I stand against. Another thing I stand against is that what Tom voted on, Trans-Pacific trade deal. He gave Obama the fast track to work out a trade deal with Trans-Pacific. I don't know how many of y'all were affected by NAFTA back in the 80s. I was. And many of them, I can tell you, Lindo Manufacturing shut down. It had 1,000 employees. Gully & Lord shut down. Up in Shannon, it's just in Floyd County now. I'm not familiar with all the other counties, but it's just in my county. Gully & Lord shut down. It employed about 1,200 people. Because of NAFTA, they couldn't compete anymore. Our jobs went to Mexico. GE, I think, employed 500. They made transformers their own. Great benefits, great pay. They decided, well, when NAFTA come about, we're just moving all those great jobs to Mexico. So, I have to agree with Donald Trump on that. We had stupid people make stupid deals.
Can I make a comment on that
Yes,
before
sir.
you give your third one? I've contacted Mr. Graves and also our senator, and the others that I've come in contact with, and I've asked them this question. If these trade deals are so good, why do we run billions of dollars of deficit every single month?
Absolutely.
He wrote back to me and said there's 44,000 jobs depending on this trade deal that they just done. I wrote him back and asked him how many thousands of jobs it was lost.
Yep.
On the other, I haven't got an answer on that.
Yeah. On NAFTA, since NAFTA went into effect, we've lost 1 million jobs. And most of those are here in the Southeast, because we was textile.
Anybody, and I'm not a smart man, but when you can send jobs overseas and pay them $1 an hour, there's no way in this world that people can compete here when they're getting $20 an hour. There's just no way that's gonna happen. I don't care how much technology you got, it's not gonna happen.
And I know a lot of people talk about, well, protectionism. I believe in protecting America. I believe in protecting the American people. NAFTA to me was the first domino to fall in our economic collapse in the 80s. And I think continued on into the housing bubble into the mid-2000s. Because when people have to when you send all the jobs overseas, because greedy corporations want to have cheap labor and cheap product to bring back over here, and it is a cheap product. We don't have quality products like we used to. Everything is throwaway product because it's made so cheaper. Nothing lasts anymore. So when you do all that, and you got people that were making $12, $13, $14 an hour with health benefits, didn't need Obamacare. Most people had health benefits because they had a good job in a mill or a manufacturing plant somewhere. So we lost that. How much did that cost us in Obamacare? Just set up a website, just thinking about that. Excuse my term, but our government and our elected officials, when it came to the NAFTA trade deal, screwed us over. The working people. Because that's where you had the housing bubble, because it got to where people didn't have good paying jobs, they had to go from $14 an hour to minimum wage, so they couldn't afford it. Their house payment anymore, they couldn't afford their car payments anymore, they couldn't afford their medical bills anymore, because they no longer had health insurance anymore. They, you know, they just, I could go on and on and on, because I've worked in that, in mills for the last 26 years. So I know real well about the manufacturing, where our jobs went to. So, like the company I work for now is Gildan. It's a good company, they make a lot of money. But the only reason we're in business is because nowhere down in Honduras or Guatemala or Dominican or Haiti or anything like that, there's no place where we grow cotton. So we grow the cotton here, we spin it, we send that yarn to their plants in a Caribbean basin through NAFTA. And that's, and they spin, you know, they make t-shirts, socks, underwear, sweats, you know, and send it back here for us to sell up here. So, I mean, which I'm not faulting them, because they just take advantage of what the government allows them to do. You know, they do it to be profitable, and the government lets them do it, the government allows it, so they let it. So that's that's number two, Trans-Pacific trade deal, because if we thought we lost, how many jobs we lost in Mexico, just think how many we're gonna lose to Asia. In the preacher, to answer your question a little further, okay, if this job trade bill is gonna be so great, how come it didn't get put in there, but they tried their best to get it put in there? Why would they put it in there to retrain and re-educate the people who lost their jobs? Why would they try to pass that into that part of that spending for that bill? Because they know we're gonna lose our jobs. You know, it's gonna cost us, the taxpayers, if it had gone through like it did with NAFTA. We did go through with NAFTA. People got, government paid out, people retrained. After that business ticket their jobs overseas, and it cost them nothing. So, okay, then third thing, when it comes to budgets, Tom will tell you all day long, I voted to defund Obamacare. Yes, he did, 40-something times. He'll tell you that he voted to not fund Obama's illegal amnesty, which the courts ended up knocking down, thank goodness. But where the fight is not you pass these bills to defund things after you've already voted to fund them. He voted for the Ryan Murray budget. He voted for the omnibus budget. He voted for the Carney-bus budget. Whichever one of those funded Obamacare, Planned Parenthood, Obama's legal amnesty, the illegal spying of U.S. citizens. You know, he voted for all those things. Where I'll be different at is when that budget for the year comes up and those things are on there, I'm going to have to tell House leadership, until you take those out, I'm not voting for it. I'm not going to come back later and do a show me bill that I'm going to defund something, which if it does get through Senate, and if it does get through Senate, it's going to go to the president's desk and get vetoed. So the funding's still there. That's like you got two boxers in the ring. They come out, slap their hand, you know, slap gloves, and they get ready to fight. They go, nah, let's don't fight that. Let's go back to our corner. We're going to think about how we're going to fight. You know, there's no fight. We don't have any fight in Washington, D.C. to do what's right. So those are three things right there that me and Tom disagree on that I would have voted differently on. I hope that answers the question.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I gotta ask a question, maybe I should, but
Go ahead.
do you belong to any electrical unions?
No, sir.
Okay, thank you.
No, sir. I don't know. No,
Good question there.
we're a non-union mill, and so, and I work for Gildan, so no, sir, I'm
Very good.
not a member of the union.
I got a question.
Yes, sir.
So I think if my numbers are right, I think the budget is about $3.5 trillion, and over half of it is committed to Social Security and Medicare. How are you gonna find $1 trillion that's left?
Well, we're gonna
Because
have.
we're racking up a trillion in debt.
Yeah, we're going, first of all, we gotta get people back to work. When people's working, the revenue comes in. That's why I'm all about protecting American workers, protecting their jobs. I know it sounds like a union thing, but it's not. It's just a personal pet peeve of mine, because I've been through it. I've lived through it. And somebody in Washington, D.C. that hasn't been in my shoes don't understand. you know, when you're giving our jobs away, how it's affecting our families. But we have to do, one thing, if we go to flat tax or fair tax, or everybody pays the same thing. Even on the corporate level, it'll put all of our, everybody on the same level, whether you're a small business or a big business. So we'll see I think through that, we'd see small businesses start to flourish again. Get put them on the same competitive edge with, almost, with our big companies. Because all the tax laws are written for corporations. They're not written for the small business guy. So when you do that, that'll bring more revenue in, even though it'd be less taxation on us. It'll bring more revenue in. You know, some of these big corporations pay 0 taxes. You know, like Rand Paul's plan is 14.5%. Everybody pays 14.5%. And to me, that sounds like a pretty good number. We're going to have Social Security reform. Like a person my age right now, to save our government, or save our nation, I want to say our government, save our nation from going into spending peril, I'll be willing to wait. I think I already got to wait till 67 and a half now, but I'll be willing to wait till 70 years old, or whatever it takes to try to balance that out. You know, welfare reform, we get people back to work. Like I said, we can do something like 20-hour work week where we have to pay out less. That would help right there. There's no sacred cow. I know the Republican Party believes in a strong national defense. I think we can still have a strong national defense and not pay, you know, $1 billion over a lifetime maintenance of F-35 fighter jet. $1 billion. That's what's the estimated cost for it to purchase and a lifetime maintenance of F-35. $1 billion a piece. You know, there's a lot. We just have to have no sacred cows. Because that's where our politicians aren't stating anymore. They say, well, if I do this, I'm gonna lose votes. But hey, we need to do what we need to do to save our nation. If our men and women, and I'm a big veterans person, and I can tell y'all some letters that I've got from some veterans about our VA and how they've been treated and how they haven't got response out of some of our congressmen, not just this district, but other districts around. It's basically, if you get around, everybody starts telling you things. And I lost my train of thoughts that I got on the veterans.
F-35.
F-35s, yeah. But, you know, our defense contractors, they're some of the biggest lobbyists and spend some of the most money to get bills passed. So we'll give our tax dollars to them. You know, somebody needs to be cut out. I mean, we had, when we come up with a deal on Abrams tanks, we got, I may be wrong, but it's been a while since I looked it up. I think like 9,000 Abrams tanks. And they want to build another 1,000 or something like that. Some high number. You know, and then generals, people in the military come back and say, we don't need more tanks. Oh yeah, you do. You need more tanks. So John McCain and some of the other ones up there say, put that fund in for them Abrams tanks. We need to build some more tanks. You know, and the Navy said, well, we don't need these ships anymore. They're old. We don't need them no more. The Navy goes, no, we need. You know, they're not listening to their people that can tell them how to save money. They're saying, no, we still need those ships. We still need these airplanes. We still need these tanks. And all it is just to keep the campaign contributions coming in from the defense contractors. See, I'm one of those that say, well, I had somebody ask me the other day, said, would you be willing to talk to any lobbyists that will donate to your campaign? I said, as long as their interests are my interests and the interests of the people of the 14th district, I'll talk to them. If it's not in the best interest of what I believe in and what I stand for, and for the people of the 14th district, no. So I haven't heard from that lobbyist. So anybody else? Did I answer your question? I remember to ask that last question. I know I got off chasing a rabbit there, but I might have got off so far I forgot what the question was. Anybody got anything else on issues or where I differ from our current representative or what I'd like to do when I got to, if y'all would let me go to Washington, D.C.?
And we might have you back, I think, when the campaign gets fired up, you know.
Yeah, looking forward.
So, yeah.
Qualifying in March and elections in May. It's kind of like telling a lot of people today now, I work for a living, so there's 12 counties. Or some call 11 and a half. So that's, try to get all those meetings and everything once everything kicks in. I
Yeah.
appreciate very much for letting me come up
Oh,
now this
yeah.
early.
Talking about the F-35 and the F-22, I asked Johnny Isaacson, is it